and very pleased that we have made this decision. And so it gives me great pride to introduce Ed Paley, who is going to present the award.
So I'm going to ask Andy Malakoff, who's the Executive Director and CEO of North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center, and Bruce Kalstein, who's the Clinical Director, to join me here. You know, I was fortunate to work at North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center for 11 years. And since 1956, North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center has been dedicated to assisting children and family with all kinds of problems. And they are very innovative. They offer many different groups, such as the Latina Girls Project and the Wilderness Project, which Bruce started many years ago and facilitates. And they're committed to group work training, not just to offering groups as some agencies do and put people out there, but committed that everyone, whether you're an intern or a staff member that works at North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center, you're trained in doing groups and offering, they offer training throughout the year to other professionals from outside North Shore Child. So it's with a great deal of pleasure that I present the first Steve Kraft Group Work Award to North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center.
Thank you so much. This is really very meaningful. Steve is a wonderful guy, and to get an award, awards, you know, and sometimes they're sort of run-of-the-mill, but to have an award with Steve's name on it, you know, is really special for us. You missed us by 3 years, though. It's 1953 that we started.
53.
And this is the 40th year of IASWG, which used to be AASWG, and it's also my 40th year at North Shore Child and Family Guidance Center. And Bruce is very close behind me, almost 33 years at this point, right?
Counting the intern years, 30, it's already, be
There you
34
go.
coming.
There you go, close behind. So we've been there together for 74, right? 74. So, you know, Steve was not only a strong leader and advocate for group work in many different venues, including the presidency of this organization, IASWG, but he was also part of our staff in a sense. He was our attorney for many years. And just a couple things. About 10 years ago, things got very difficult for community-based mental health agencies out here on Long Island and beyond, also in the metropolitan area. And it was a result of a few things. It was the economy, 2008, there was a recession. There was also New York State decided to restructure the way they finance mental health agencies, which they later called, in their rebuilding, so to speak, regional centers of excellence, which I renamed Regional Centers of Mediocrity. And the reality was that many organizations closed, others restricted access, and still others were taken over by conglomerates with no community roots. And so we were struggling to stay independent, to stay alive, to continue to have universal access, not to turn anyone away for inability to pay. And while Steve was our attorney and we were paying him, he called me one day and he said, I decided I'm going to provide my services pro bono. And so for each year thereafter, until he left us, he provided those services, and the staff loved to talk to him because he was a social worker and because he was also an excellent attorney, and he had the group work heart, which those of you who are group workers know what that's about. And one other thing, years before he became our attorney, I had a group, and there was a young man in the group, a teenager, who told a story in the group about being arrested for, it was something related to drugs. And I knew as soon as he told me the story that he didn't do it. And I said, all right, let me see if I can help you. I called Steve and I said, I have this kid in my group, and here's the story he told me, and I'm telling you he didn't do it. He says, well, you know, that's what they all say. I said, well, this one I think is different. Will you at least talk to him? And he did, and he called me and he said, you were right, he definitely didn't do it. And he took steps in order to get this kid off. And so that was, again, you know, pro bono, he went above and beyond, and that was the kind of guy that Steve was. But no one can speak better about Steve than Bruce, who is, you know, not only a colleague and one, probably the person who spoke to him most at work about legal issues as the Director of Clinical Services, but also, you know, is a very long-time close friend of Steve's, knows him, you know, better than probably anybody here except for his wife, Ora, who's here, and also his daughter, who we haven't met yet, but so I'm gonna give it to Bruce.
I met Steve Kraft in 1973. He was director of a very small community agency in Syosset, working with adolescents, funded by the Drug and Alcohol Commission for Prevention of Drug Abuse. And I didn't have a social work degree, and I interviewed, and he hired me. And he taught me group work, not from a book, and not talking about, well, he always talked about what's the purpose of the group and bring it back to them. But everywhere he went, if there was more than one or two people there, it was a group. And when he had a staff meeting, he included not just the clinical staff, he included the secretaries, and he included the high school aides that we used to hire to hang out in the drop-in center, and everybody felt that they were on equal footing. He made you feel so respected and heard and appreciated, you know, that you changed in that experience. You came in as an individual, not knowing the other people in the room per se, not even sure perhaps why you were there, but as the meetings continued, you heard other people talking about their experiences and opening up in their own kind of way, even if you were totally silent or angry for the first 2 months of being there. Eventually, you know, Steve's impact was that people started to respect everybody in the room, and that's you know, that's an essence of group work. I think that followed. You know, everybody who met him experienced it that way. He'd have a board meeting, and after the board meeting, they would all go to the On Parade Diner to have a cup of coffee, and this went on for years, and then I would say a third of the board members became social workers. You know, they said, actually what happened was, I think they said, you know, we're having board meetings and we're having coffee, but you know, we hear what goes on in those other rooms, and we'd like a little more of that, a little more of what the helping process really is in terms of groups. And so the board became a group, or at least a number of members, and they continued for years that way. I was running a group of 16-year-olds at the time, mostly delinquent kids, and they would see the board members go to On Parade and for coffee afterwards, and they said, Bruce, why can't we go to On Parade for coffee afterwards? I said, well, you know, the agency, by the way, was open from 1:30 to 10:30 every night, Monday through Thursday. And I said, well, you can go to On Parade, you know, we can go there, except you guys are gonna get stoned on the way over there, and I can't do that with you. So they had to make a commitment that they would at least go from Syosset to On Parade Diner to have coffee next to the board members who are having coffee, but stay sober. You know, so clearly I went to social work school after that.